do end up in here. I'm gonna get my mixing stuff because I was gonna make I wanted to make a cosmopolitan because I found out that was like invented in the 80s, like in
was it?
Yeah, but it was super popular in the 90s too.
Because the Sex and the City.
Perfect. So I wanted to make it before the show, but I didn't.
Make it on the show. That's fun.
I'm just gonna make it now. But I'm just gonna do with whatever I have in my house. Like I forgot to buy the things. So we have raspberry vodka, and then I have like canned strawberry instead of.
Oh, that'd actually probably be really good.
That sounds really good. Yeah.
Anything with strawberry added is good.
Triple sec, and I think that's it. But I don't have a shaker either, so I'm gonna have to just
use 2 cups and like pour it in. That's usually what I do. I don't have a shaker either.
It's gonna be a mess, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, just do it over the sink. Just be careful.
my dirty sink. Everything is dirty because I didn't do anything on my day off. I was trying to listen to the audiobook. And then I got there was like 2 hours left. And then I decided I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah, I know. That's how I had an hour left and I didn't even finish it because I just don't care. So terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Hi.
You guys all look super cute though, for real. We'll just might as well introduce ourselves and stuff. So
I forgot to do that on live shows.
Huh?
I always forget that you introduce yourselves on live shows.
Yeah. I forget. Yeah. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
Okay, the notification just sent, so people should be coming.
Okay, cool. So we can have a little more time. Where is everyone else? You know what? Most of us, or the other half of us, didn't really want to read the book.
Yeah.
Carol has read it before. She just couldn't.
Yeah.
Carol
actually liked it.
Yeah.
She'll be in the comments.
The rest of us. Yeah.
I feel like we never have a full group anyways. Like that never happens.
Yeah.
No, that's the whole point of having like a big group.
A bajillion hosts.
Mm-hmm. So that way we're never too short on people. I mean, it really wouldn't matter. We'd still have a good time if there were 2 of us.
Yeah, that's true.
And Molly has to go to bed early. Who else we missing?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Marcy's not feeling well. And why am I blanking?
Cat.
Yeah, Cat didn't like the book.
I mean, she probably would have read it if we ended up like all liking it, but we were all like so hesitant in the group, like about our feelings and
I don't
know.
I don't think I have feelings. Like that was my whole thing with the book is like I really don't have any feelings like towards it at all. Like not even mediocre feelings, just none. None.
I have things to say. I definitely have things to say about it, but not a I thought it was going to be a favorite. I honestly did because of the topic. I love Salem. I love witches. I love that whole thing. Love the 80s.
Yeah.
And it just didn't do it for me. I'm upset.
Monica, she said basically you'll feel like I did last month when I didn't like the Echo Wife and you all did. True.
Yep.
That's probably what's going to happen.
That's the beauty of the book club,
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's fine.
A lot of different opinions and vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Honestly, the farther we get away from reading the Echo Wife, the more I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it even more now.
I really liked that one. So even thinking back, I still really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those of you who are just jumping on here right now, welcome to the Stacks of Strange live show for We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan. We're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. We'll just go into like general thoughts, ratings, all that jazz. And then I will let you guys know before we get into spoilers. Amy, why don't you go first? And I'm going to make a drink while you're doing that.
Yeah, Raine, do your drink. So I'm Amy. My channel is Amy Reads. And I finished this today. General thoughts. I think I'm giving it 3 stars. I'm sure we'll talk more about this, and we were just sort of talking about how I thought it would be a favorite because I love the 80s and I love anything Salem witch trial themed, anything just set up there. I'm not necessarily a field hockey fan, but I don't think you have to be necessarily to read this book. But yeah, I gave it a 3, and we can talk about why, I guess, later. Since Raine's making a drink, I'll just, Deja, you're next underneath me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Raine.
Okay, hi, I'm Deja from Deja's Book World. I finished the book honestly like a while ago because I was in such a slump. I finished my 2 book club books so early. And I think I'm giving it 3 stars too. I literally already said this, but like I have no feelings. Like even when I think a book is mediocre, generally I'm like, what? Okay, like it was really mediocre. Like I didn't like it. But like towards this book, like I definitely don't have negative feelings towards it. Like I don't feel anything negative, but I just don't feel anything.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, like 80s. And like that was it. You know? That's about it.
But yeah, Monica says that we didn't like it because we weren't alive in the 80s. I would disagree. That's not at all why I didn't love it.
The 80s part was my favorite part.
Yeah. No, it was the reasons that and I don't even want to say I didn't like it. I think it was just, it ended up being middle of the road for me as opposed to like a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I dislike it, but it was more like writing style, pace, things like that made me lower my rating. Definitely not the 80s vibes. I mean, I was born in the 80s. I lived a little bit of my life in the 80s, but that's definitely not why I give it a lower rating.
Yeah, right. I mean, I love My Best Friend's Exorcism, and that is set in the 80s, and that was like one of my all-time favorite books.
Yeah.
So I don't think the setting, like the time period.
Yeah, definitely wasn't that for me at least.
The writing style, I think, is my problem with it. I couldn't follow it. I tried really hard. Crystal, you want to introduce yourself, and then I'll.
Hi guys, I'm Crystal from Crystal Visions. I pretty much read everything on my channel. I try to. Right now I'm really into fantasy. I don't know what's going on. But I don't know. It was a 3 out of 5 star book for me too. It was middle of the road, and it's a 3 star because I really enjoyed all the elements. It just wasn't like executed the way that I wanted it to be.
Yeah, that was
and I kept reading on and on trying to like get to that, but nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. So 3 out of 5 stars just for the elements. That's it.
Yeah, I didn't finish it, so I'm not going to rate it because I just don't feel right about rating books I don't finish. But yeah, I probably finished it. I stopped listening to the audiobook at the last 2 hours. So I had switched. I started reading the physical. I think I got about like 70 or so pages. And then I was like, I'm having a really hard time getting through this book. It's taking a lot longer than I thought. So I got the audiobook and I've been listening to that, but I'm still just not into it. So I was like, I'm not going to waste any more time trying to like it, even though I was really excited about it. But so I decided to DNF it altogether. But I wanted to answer Monica's question because she said you thought it was going to be horror like Bunny. I didn't think it was going to be horror. I did think as far as like the witchcraft stuff or like just the not really spookier stuff, but kind of like I thought it was going to be a little more edgier, I guess. Like I don't know. With it being categorized as an adult book, I just thought maybe there was going to be a little more like I don't know. I can't find the word for
I
it.
thought it
Yeah,
was
like fantastic
going
element
to
or
up and like culminate in something.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't expecting it to be a horror book.
No.
Yeah.
That wasn't my expectation.
Yeah.
I think
But like,
I was gonna say, I think I was just expecting more like actual, not like actual magic, but like I feel like the magic in this, I was like, what is the point though? Like I don't, like it didn't was like in anything.
I wish someone at least levitated or something. Like someone could have levitated, like something weird could have happened in that aspect because it was labeled as a fantasy in a way. Like if you look it up on Goodreads, it says fantasy. So where's the fantasy element to it, you know?
And I honestly, I did think that it was gonna be like light and funny, but like I feel like it, like I feel like it wasn't light and it wasn't dark, and it was like in this weird middle place, and I didn't know how to do either, but it was trying to do both. And then I was like, okay, you're trying to be light, but like you're not doing it that well. You're kind of labeled as darker, but like you're not doing that either. So like what are we doing? We're just chilling. Okay, that's fine. That is okay.
I had a feeling about this book, and when I was thinking about it, I hadn't finished it yet, but I was thinking about it last night. I was probably like 75% through last night. I thought this book is a perfect example, much like Bunny, in my opinion, of a book that is a little off the wall and is going to work so well for a small group of people, and everyone else is going to be like, I don't get the hype.
Yeah.
I love Bunny, but when I read it, I thought, yeah, like 10 people are going to like this book, and I'm one of them. You know, like, and so this is another book where I'm like, oh, I can see this being someone's new favorite book. This is a total, like, ticked everyone's boxes. It was like a me thing. And I did think that it was, like, I did, like, snicker and, like, laugh out loud a few times. Like, it did have some funny moments. But it's just so dense. It's very, and I know like it's an adult book. I read adult books. It's not that. It's just there's very little dialogue, which we talked about in our group chat. The prose is very dense, and sometimes I felt like the prose was trying too hard to be witty. Like sometimes it felt more natural, and sometimes I was like, okay, did we need okay, was that necessary to? I don't know.
Right.
Again, I can see how that is a 5-star for somebody that isn't me.
Yeah. I think people like for us, we read a lot of books. So like we have high expectations when we go into books like this. So I just personally think that I read a lot of horror. I read a lot of fantasy. So it's just a personal thing for me. Like I was expecting a little bit more out of this, especially since it was plugged as something that was about Salem witch trials. It was a witch trial retelling, or there was like fantastical elements that was supposed to be in it. So I was expecting something like Grady Hendrix's My Best Friend's Exorcism, where so much happened, and I was like blown off my seat reading that book compared to this one. But for someone who's not such a seasoned horror reader or fantastical reader or even magical realism reader, I feel like this would be a good book for them. Like someone that's feeling nostalgic about their childhood, definitely pick it up. You know, it's definitely a great coming of age story. If you played field hockey and you like the Salem witch trials, read it. Like that's what it's for. But it just personally wasn't for me, unfortunately. I wish it was.
Yeah. And for like fantasy, I wasn't really expecting fantasy, but like some kind of magic. Like I felt like the magic here wasn't magic.
As far as like other than writing in the book, and correct me if I'm wrong because I didn't finish the book completely, but aside from just writing in the book and then whatever they did, I guess we could probably get into spoilers. I guess I could bring it up later when we get into spoilers. But I mean, they really obviously didn't do a lot of
they wrote in a book and like
or anything, and it felt like it was more.
Yeah, we might want to call spoilers before we answer your question.
Yeah, I think so. So if anyone didn't read the book, should probably leave now. I'm really bad about reminding people. I was like, I'll remind you, and then I forget.
My interpretation at the end was that it was unclear whether any actual magic had occurred, but probably not. Like it was
mental.
It was mostly that because like one of them talks about how like they took their string off for like 2 months because it gave them a rash, and like nobody knew and nothing changed, and so it was more like how they thought. And so I don't know, they were like able to hear each other's thoughts, but was that real, or I don't know, and it's unclear. I guess I thought that it was going to culminate in something.
And nothing.
Right.
It just I felt like the end was very anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then there's a flash forward at the end, which also didn't really do much.
Mm-hmm.
There's a flash forward.
Yeah,
30
it just
years
felt
later.
flat.
I felt like we were maybe slowly amping up towards something. You had like the Ouija board scene, and I was like, okay, where are we going? Okay, human sacrifice.
Yes.
And then like,
I really thought something was going to happen.
I think I just hoped there'd be like we weren't going to get like some type of explosive ending. We would get very close to it, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, no, we can't actually kill somebody. That would be crazy, So,
yeah.
like it just kind of fizzled at the
end.
Okay, I see.
I did like the part in like Salem when they went to Salem. That was fun because I like that the witchy. Like I know Lori Cabot. I met her, so like seeing that in the book, like that was really cool. But nothing happened, and I kept waiting. I was like, oh, this is it. This is the part where things are going to change. They're going to get magic powers for some reason, like something, and nothing happened. They were spooked and they ran out of there. Like that's it.
I feel like for like Monica, like
I like that.
Like I understand what you're saying, but like as a high school senior, I think that right now I don't relate because I literally couldn't care less about senior year. Like I think because it's just
times
not
are different
for me because I'm like, what is school? School ended a year ago. I'm just going to these online things and completing things. Oh, my dog's barking. I literally like achieving something in high school is like not important to me right now. Like I literally just want to walk across the stage. Like they're making us do like a senior picnic, and I'm like, like I'm not trying to.
Like let's get this done.
It's a weird time to be a senior in high school, though.
Right? For sure. But I feel like Deja at the same time, though. Like I didn't graduate during like the pandemic or anything. But I never participated in any of those senior things. And maybe I was just the oddball, but I just didn't. Like I
don't think people knew it
about it.
Honestly.
I took 3 classes my senior year and I was gone by the middle of the day, and I just wanted to go.
I did the same thing at work.
And I liked school events. Like I did like my first 2 years, but then by the 3rd year, I was like, okay, we did this.
I transferred to another school your junior year, and then had like 7 months there, and then the pandemic hit. So you didn't really get a chance to like feel. You don't have like a lot of school pride about the school you.
Oh no, honestly,
because you've not been there very long.
I hate high school. Like as a school, like my teachers are chill, cool, whatever. But like my school, like as like a group, so trash because I went to middle school with all those kids because like there's like the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school all right next to each other. And I went to that middle school, and I'm like, F all of you. I don't like any of you. Cannot stand any of you. Goodbye. Peace out. Like I literally talk to like one person from school. Like if I'm not doing like. I'll talk to other people about school stuff, but like I talk to like one person about non-school stuff, and like that's it. Like I literally am so over it. Yeah. And also, I really don't like coming of age stories. Like I think like again, like I just don't relate to them, and like I stopped liking them like 2-3 years ago. Like coming of age stories really just like that's why I don't like reading YA contemporary anymore because I feel like they're all like, ooh, like graduating high school, figuring out my identity, and I'm.
If I'm going to read a coming of age story, I would want it to be an adult story about.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I like Carol where you pointed out like it isn't real magic. It was a group mentality. I guess I just thought I don't even know that it was that I was looking for it to be real. I think I just wanted them to take it a little further because they were so involved in it. Like I kind of wanted them to take it right up to the limit of like doing something they shouldn't have done, or actually doing something they shouldn't have done, only to find out that it was just them. Like
like
so
hysteria.
Like at the end, it just sort of was like it just kind of.
Yeah.
So I do like that it wasn't real, but I don't know. I felt like we could have like amped it up more.
Yeah.
Because it didn't feel like there was much going on for a lot of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that way too. I think that's what made me lose my interest is there wasn't anything on the verge of like, I don't know, just intensity or anything that made me want to keep reading it. Like, oh man, something bad could happen. And it just never felt that way. It never felt like it was not necessarily scary, but just anxious. I never felt anxious reading it or.
I wanted to feel like there was going to be some peril.
Yeah, some like
whether it happened or not, like I wanted to be. I feel like the first 70-ish pages, you were getting a lot of like, and I think I mentioned this maybe during the sprints, but it was a lot of like, if only we were to know what was going to happen, or like little like, and I was like, okay, but then that kind of just dropped off. And nothing really.
That's true.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Like, it was like revealed, but it was so minor that it wasn't like, oh, that's what they meant. You know what I mean? It ended up being such like so many minor things that didn't like click.
That's literally so true because like I feel like people could like obviously say like the book like that wasn't like the purpose of the book, but like it literally was trying to be like, oh, but like wait till you find out what happens. And I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
I feel like there were so many points that the author could have pushed it like a little bit further, and it just would have been like the night that they went to Salem on Halloween, the prom night, even when their like last game, right? That could have been like 10 times more something.
Right.
And
even if nothing was real, like they still could have gone with that whole vibe of like it wasn't actually any real magic. It was just like in their heads.
Like for a book that takes place in high school in the 80s, I expected more drama, more tea, more something. Like it was so dry. There was no juice. Yeah. It was not juicy whatsoever.
It was just like a big run-on sentence, and I just felt like I couldn't keep up with the pacing, but at the same time I felt like it was taking forever to read. And it doesn't even have to be like fantastical. It just has to be some type of substance that will keep my interest, and it just didn't. Even the Salem Witch Trials didn't even keep my, interest. So
I felt like I was like, man, this book has so many elements that like if you described it to me, I would be like, hell yes, I guarantee I'm gonna love that. And it was Crystal. It's like the execution of it just wasn't there for me. It was like I read about 45% of this physically, and then I was like, I'm not going to get it done in time. Like I just could not physically read it anymore because it is very dense, and just very, like kind of like a big run-on sentence in a lot of ways. It's not like stream of consciousness, but it was more style for me. Even all the things we just talked about with the plot, like it could have had the exact same plot and gone in the exact same direction, and I think I would have given it a 4 if I'd liked the writing and the pacing better.
Right. Same.
I'd have been like, okay, well, I do wish it had been more something, but it was really funny and engaging and X, Y, and Z, so it's a 4. Like, I think had the writing been different for me, it would have gotten with this exact same plot,
And Crystal, I think you described it really well when you said it's like a giant run-on sentence. Like it really, like that's what it feels like.
It really is.
Because I'm not even like
when's it gonna end?
I'm not even like a big writing person, okay? Like I'm not like like the writing in this book was so bad. Like I'm just not that human. Like I just don't like like even Crystal, how you read From Blood and Ash, everybody hates the writing in that book. because they're like, she info dumps. I'm like, what info dumping? Don't notice her.
Yeah, just keep giving me the info.
But like, there's only one other circumstance besides this that like a writing really bothered me. But this one I feel like was like better because that writing was just, that's awful. Crave by Tracy Wolf. The writing in that is actually horrific, and when like it made me
Horrible.
put my eyes out. Like I literally.
It's not.
It's
This
fan
was by
fiction.
no
That was
means,
fan
like,
fiction. Yeah.
This was by no means a badly written book. I've read
No, it's more that
It's just the writing style
my
is
style
is not my style. It's not something that clicked with me.
Yeah.
Because overall,
I love the references though. The references are great.
Mhm.
Like I was very happy every time I recognized a reference in there. I was like, yes, that's great. But
You know, and I didn't feel like it even had to lead to something that big. Like I was saying, it like wasn't even like juicy, right? Like there were so many points where like there was like a little like piece of drama, and then they just like skimmed over. If they just went into the drama more, even if it was a little petty, I would have been like, okay, we're here for it. Like let's go. Like okay.
It would have been interesting if like they kind of imploded on themselves a bit.
Yes.
I mean, that's somewhere it went where it was just like a bunch of inner drama.
Right. Yeah. Even if it caused like a fight between some of the girls, like that would have been enough.
That's realistic too. It's realistic. So
literally every single group of girls that I've ever like been a part of has always imploded. Every time without fail. They never last.
11
you can't have 11 girls and no drama. You can't have 11 girls and no drama. You can't.
Literally, you can't even have like 4 or 5. It's gonna implode.
No.
And it's not even like it's like, oh, like you fizzle off. No. It like implodes on itself.
Yeah.
Like disaster. Literal like dumpster fire.
Do you think the fact that it's a very like feminist story, do you think that's the reason why there was no like interpersonal like drama between the girls?
Oh, maybe.
I think it was a love letter to her friends, to be honest. If you read about the author a little bit, like it's a representation of her life, and I think she just wanted to write something for, you know, her field hockey team and like how they grew up. That's what it kind of seemed to me a little bit.
Yeah.
It just seemed it seems incredibly personal, like the author, which is why, you know, like I'm not saying anything bad necessarily. It just didn't click for me.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But it
gave me that feeling like Bunny did, where I was like, this is a niche kind of book.
Yeah.
I feel like that some people are gonna like it, and then a lot of people are not.
But like, I agree. That doesn't really happen to me that often, though, where like books don't click with me. Usually I like them or like I don't like them. And like I don't think that they're like good. Like this book, I really didn't think it was bad. And again, I have no negative feelings towards it. Like even books like, I'm trying to think, like The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. Like I have negative feelings towards that book, even though I gave it like 3 stars. Like I don't. And it made me upset. So I don't. But I know most people like that, but that's like an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway. But this book, I really just, it wasn't like there was nothing wrong with it. I just did it. I wasn't like, oh my God, I love it so much.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why I DNF'd it too, is because I kind of didn't want to do this book a disservice by rushing through it and then just giving it this hasty rating where I was like, I don't know, like I understand where the author's like what she's trying to do with the story and then how personal it is. And I did feel that way, that it was very personal when I was listening to it. And I was like, you know what, honestly, I'm probably better off not finishing it. I don't want to say anything bad about it. So I was just like, no, I'm just not going to finish it and just leave it at that and not rate it or anything, because I don't think I really listened to it well enough. I think I just spaced most of the time. And so I probably missed a lot of it. And I don't think it would be fair to give it a rating or like even finish it and try to understand it. But I like Carol, it seems like she very much understood the book. I think she actually reread the book for this. Yeah. And she ended up giving it 5 stars. but she's did say like there are lots of points about feminism and sexual abuse. I did like get into that, like feminism definitely, like that's throughout the entire book, but there were like some instances of sexual abuse happening to at least one of the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did appreciate all the like more feminist points and the kind of like, you know, things change in present day, but this is 1989 and this is what happened then, and this is how we.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Monica, like that's not the drama I'm talking about. I'm talking about petty drama, like being like, you did this to me, like you stole my jean jacket that I love, like
or like
sexual abuse is not drama. That's not drama. That's not
drama.
No.
That's real life stuff, and that story needed that. Like I appreciated those parts, and especially like the quote that Carol just shared. That quote is amazing because it really stands the test of time. And truly, things have not changed since the 80s to now with things like that. So I really appreciated that part.
Yeah, if anything, like I either wish there was more drama or more social commentary. Like I feel like it was trying to do both, and so it couldn't do both to the extent that I wanted them done. Like that would have worked for me. So like, because like I'm like the type of reader that literally needs to be slapped across the face. So like you can't just be
subtle from Asia.
No, you can't be subtle about it. No subtlety here. So like the thing is, I feel like they were trying to do both, and neither was like enough for me to be like, yep, like I yeah.
I feel like more dialogue would have definitely helped with that and made these characters shine, because we do spend a good amount of time like learning about the characters, but I don't feel like there's enough of their interactions or like talking to each other to really make them stand out. Like, oh, this one's like super witty or whatever. You know, like I had such a hard time differentiating between characters for the longest time. Like it wasn't until like, almost like basically until I stopped listening to it was when I finally was like, okay, I can kind of pinpoint who's who.
And we weren't even ever
more characters. There were like more characters introduced, like some of the male characters, and I'm like, I don't even know. Who or what's what? Yeah.
I think what
Carol's bringing up a very good point about this. Like, if you research the Salem witch trials and you pick out all the people that were involved in the Salem witch trials, a lot of these characters mirror those people. So this book was kind of like to mirror what happened there and kind of bring out like what the hysteria did and kind of like how it's coming into the 80s from like hundreds of years ago. But I just feel like the execution wasn't put that, like if you don't have knowledge of the Salem witch trials, you have no idea what the hell's going on in this book.
Yeah.
So like that's where it kind of like falls flat for me also, because you need a little bit more history in there if you want to go that route. But I really love how Carol's pulling out these amazing points to the story that I completely missed. Because
she always does.
She's a historian. She's a historian, this girl.
Yes. I love that quote that Carol just put. But again, like I think it was really like a personal thing is why it didn't click with me, because like high school for me, she's trash. I literally don't like groups of friends. Like I literally say that all the time. Like I have one friend and that's us. We're a pair. And if somebody else tries to come in, I'm a fight. Like I don't like being in groups of people like that. So
you don't like reading about them either? You don't like reading about them either?
I get it's just that I feel like it was like personal sense that like I feel like if you really like this, it's because you relate to it, and like I didn't relate to it on that level because I'm not like a group of friends type person. I feel like if it's like a group of friends with tea, I'm like that's interesting. But like if it's just like a group of friends being like, oh, like yay, like we're helping each other, whatever, like that's not for me. Like because I just don't relate to it. Like I don't. Especially if I feel like in like the hard times in my life, like it was me, myself, and I. So like, I'm saying like hard times. Like I had a lot of hard times and I'm 18. But like, I feel like a lot of like the struggles, it was just me helping me through my times, and there was no group. There was no group.
So for you, it was more of like a personal not being able to relate to these.
Yeah,
people.
like I think I just really didn't.
As a senior in high school, being like nothing here is like vibing with me.
Right.
No.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to not like a book.
I feel like a lot of like 80s, because I didn't live in the 80s, but like I low key vibe with it. Like, so I'd be watching a lot of like 80s movies and TV shows, and like I feel like I relate to them, especially because my mom puts them on. So I'd be like, oh, like I like them, I relate to them. But then for this one, I just for some reason it didn't like, because I feel like it's very personal to her experience, and her experience and my experience are very different, worlds apart.
Yeah.
Monica,
you should have your mom on here.
Read or saw the adaptation of The Crucible. I read and watched it, and I did not relate the two at all when I was reading it. I did not think about it that way.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't think of it that way.
It's been a long time since I was in high school and read that, but yes, I have read it. I have seen the adaptation.
I read it recently. I didn't feel, I mean, that was people's lives on the line. I mean, that was people, people were dying in that. And then this book, people were not dying. So I didn't really see the correlation. Like, I can understand the hysteria part, and I did see that, especially among teen girls. But I just don't see the mirror of The Crucible with this story. It doesn't really line up for me.
Because, like, I feel like maybe, if you had the reporter girl, Nikki, who was like, something's fishy here, but you didn't really have what if the people had kind of like turned on them and been like, or there had been something, I don't know. It's just, it was missing some oomph.
Yeah. I agree.
It was, I like the themes. I liked what it was talking about. I do like the correlations between the Salem witch trial. There was just something about the story that lacked
spice.
Something.
Mm-hmm. Need a little spice.
It just felt a little flat.
That's how I felt.
Not someone asking me a direct question. I don't have to relate to everything that I read, but I feel like there has to be one of three things. Either I have to relate to it, I have to be very entertained by it, like literally like again, like drama tea, or it has to be like really emotional, like making me like cry. And this didn't do any of that. Or it has to really make me laugh. And this book, again, like it really wasn't like that. It wasn't super, I didn't laugh out loud. It wasn't that funny to me. But again, that could be the audiobook. Sometimes that happens where like I don't catch all the jokes. So I would listen / reread this book again, but like not for like a year. At least.
I feel like I would honestly get more out of it from
a
reading
second time.
Because I think a lot of the themes and things were lost on me because I was looking for some plot. Well, nothing didn't have plot, but some plot development, some movement.
I think, like Crystal said, if you knew a little more about the Salem witch trials and you were able to like correlate what like different messages they're trying to throw in there, I don't think it's necessarily The Crucible is a good example, just because there's like that same hysteria factor, but I feel like Crystal means more of the history behind it and like places and
like a brief history. I mean, this is taking place in Danvers, which is Little Salem. Like that was so like the beginning of the book, if the author wants to take that turn, like a lot of people aren't going into this book knowing that unless you know the Salem witch trial. So if there was some type of brief history plot in the beginning where this kind of like they're learning about it in school or something, turns, then we know like, oh shit, this is mirroring The Crucible. But like you don't really find that out until after reading the book. And I did some research after reading it, like kind of just like seeing what other people thought, and like how Carol's saying, like the hysteria, and it clicked afterwards, but I wish it would have clicked before.
It would have probably enriched my experience. And maybe that's just like the author should assume that not everyone is going to know details of the Salem witch trial, or I mean, everybody knows what the Salem witch trials are, but at least in America, I would think everybody is familiar with what it is, what happened. But like even like a little forward or something. I mean, you could have had like a little forward at the beginning or something, or like a prologue where, because you have this like narrative, you could have been like, looking in on Salem 1692 or whatever, and had like a little bit to go on. Not because we aren't familiar, but because the details of it may have helped make more correlations as you're reading the book, as opposed to like oh, I'm going to look at it now. Oh, well, okay, that makes sense now that I'm doing independent research.
Yeah, I think
that doesn't do much to help you in the moment reading it.
Yeah, a lot of those things would have became more familiar to someone who was more versed in knowing about the Salem witch trials, like a little more advanced course.
Right.
Trials. Not like you just read The Crucible. I mean, that's just a playwright, and it's
like if you read it first and then read the book.
Yeah, so it's like that doesn't even have enough history behind it to like really for you to understand that, because I didn't correlate any of that until it was brought up here. And I feel like rereading it now and knowing that, I probably would like it more. And
right.
Maybe that would have, I definitely agree with Crystal that, with all of you actually, but with Crystal about it being like maybe a history lesson or something like that, that along the lines to get your mind in there, like there. I was mindset.
I've never read or seen The Crucible, and I know what the Salem witch trials are. Obviously, like everybody knows. But I don't know the people. I don't know the places. I just know there was some hysteria, and they hung some.
Yeah, they don't teach it in school anymore. They really don't teach it in school. It's like part of the banned books. Yeah,
unless you're
part
from
of the
that
banned
area.
books. So
yeah,
I think I only learned about it in the sense that we read and studied The Crucible. Like it was
right.
It was not something that was talked about in history.
Right.
It was an English class.
In literature, yeah.
And so I guess if you didn't read The Crucible and you didn't have, I mean, again, like, there's like, okay, people were hanged for being witches.
But they weren't actually witches, and it was just
they weren't actually witches. Like, that's your general.
That's all I know. And I was like, okay.
I don't know what the hell that is. Like, in America, like, you probably, you've heard of it.
Yeah, obviously.
But not. And yeah, if you didn't study it at all in school, like how would you know?
Right. I literally, the Salem witch trial part to me, like, I was like, okay, they're by Salem. They went there for Halloween, and like that was it. Like that's literally the only connection I got.
And that is not even the history. That's not a brief history of that at all.
No, I went, and that was it. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm not saying the book's not funny. I think it might be a generational difference. Like
I think so for you, especially.
I think probably for you, yeah.
For me, like I literally find like the stupidest stuff funny, like on TikTok. So like I can't even say I think my humor is good, but I be finding really stupid stuff funny. So I'm not saying that the humor in this isn't good. I'm saying my humor might not be good. Also, I'm biased. Like I literally find this funny. Like okay, like
right.
Like,
I agree. I'm definitely more like stupid, silly humor than I am like witty humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also I love Into the Drowning Deep so much. I don't even know if you like that book, but I love that book. And my mom read it, and she like she liked it, but she didn't love it. And it made me sad. I was like, no, she's saying that. She's about to say it.
I've not read that yet.
I wanted to ask Carol if she's still in the chat, if she liked the book better the second time around.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, did she rate it 5 stars the first time as well, or did she rate it 5 stars this time only?
I think she rated it 5 stars both times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know for sure.
I love Into the Drowning Deep. So.
Monica did bring up a good point up in the top, just about like the social commentary, because there is definitely a lot of social commentary in here too. Mm-hmm. Like I know we talked about the feminism in it, but there were other.
What the heck is rye fungus? Like, what is that?
It's like what was making the girls like crazy during the Salem witch trials. Like that's what was poisoning.
Oh, yeah, it was the mold in the bread or something.
Yeah. They were eating moldy bread.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense to me, but I was like, okay, fungus bread.
I didn't catch that at all.
And that's like
I don't know when that was. When did they mention that?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think it kind of like hit me, but I just still like I said, the writing style just nothing was absorbing really up here for me.
I think that's why I'm like, if I read it a second time, not that I'm going to, but if I did, like. I feel like I could slow down and get more because I was just like, ooh, this is like washing over me a bit. Like you'd get and I read half of it, physically, so it wasn't. I feel like I picked up more listening to the audiobook. So it wasn't like an out type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that about the rye fungus. So
yeah. And I think I just thought of a good thing about this book. I feel like this book is for people who lived in the 80s and not like 80s appreciators. Because like I love like the aesthetic of the 80s. I love like 80s movies, TV shows, but like I didn't live in the 80s. So I feel like if you live in the 80s, it's a lot more like it's cool.
Yeah, well the references are like amazing and it totally brings you way back when you see them in there. But like you said, it's just like it doesn't stand the test of time for you, Deja. And I feel like it's more of like a love letter to the author's friends and people she grew up with in her generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the high school experience is so different now.
It's so different.
And like when I went to high school, like trust me, like I wanted like a whole like group little like whatever moment because that's what everybody sees in like movies. But like that's not the reality.
Yeah.
You know,
well, they didn't have social media. Like you have social media, you have your friends online. Like that was all they knew was school and those people there. They didn't know anything else besides school. So like they didn't even have their own phone line to call their friends, you know? And when the phone would ring, you didn't know who was calling.
Like I feel like this
you can't, not that you can't, but like, because I know you see it in media, but like that you have never lived a life essentially without social media.
No.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre to think because I feel like I graduated high school in 2005. So I feel like I like grew up alongside of technology as opposed to like with it. Like I got my first cell phone. It was a flip phone and I got it when I graduated high school, like going to college.
Yeah.
2005. So like
same.
Deja, you were like a couple years older or whatever. So like, you know, like you've never lived a life without connecting with people online. Like the idea of this kind of more, I don't know if quaint is maybe a simpler time. I don't know, of just like being like the people that you know are the people you go to school with and you're in clubs with, and that's, or maybe you go to church with them or something like, and that's it. Like that's who you hang with. It's so strange to think that there's a whole generation of people who never experienced that, and so that seems foreign to them.
And okay, I have a couple points. This is how you know I grew up around technology. What brings me back to my childhood is the sound of the Sims 2 clicking. For some reason, that does something for me. I see so many Sims 2 videos because the sound of the click, I'm like, yes, like that was my childhood right there.
Yeah.
Two, yeah, literally, like, and it's also so foreign to me that people like see each other like every day like that. Like seeing your friends outside of school is like not something that I've experienced. Like you don't see them every day. Like my friends that go to my school live 15 minutes away from me a drive. Okay. They don't live down the street. That's not how it works. So like even like my boyfriend, I haven't seen him in like 2 weeks. Like we don't even go to the same school, but I'm virtual anyways, but like we don't see each other like that because if we can't see each other, we're just like, okay, we'll just text, we'll just FaceTime, whatever. And then my third point was going to be, kids now apparently in school, instead of going like this for fun, they go like this. And that terrifies me. They go like this.
Yeah. I had a beeper. I had a beeper in school because my dad had gotten an extra one. So like if my parents had to like emergency like contact me for some reason, I had the beeper. But I did not get a cell phone until I was graduating high school as well. And I worked too, so no one knew where I was. They would have to call my job to find out if I got there if they needed to know. But like I would ride my bikes, like Carol said, you knew your friends like because you would ride your bike around the corner and you go see if they're there. I would go home by the church bell on my street, like that's how I knew it was time to go home. The 6 o'clock church bell for dinner. Like it's just crazy stuff. Like and like Deja did not experience that.
No, like going up to someone's house.
Like
if I just showed up to my friend's house being like, hey, like, can you hang out? Like, that'd be rude. Like,
and we were outside. We were in the dirt. We were rollerblading. We were on our bikes. We were getting cuts and bruises.
I did ride my bike, to be fair, but, like, I didn't really hang out with kids in my neighborhood growing up. I only hung out with, like, like 3, but then also like everybody for some reason, like I know they did like sports like in this book, but like for some reason, even when you're like a kid, like even when I was like 7, like everybody is so busy, like nobody can see each other like anytime because everybody's always doing something. They always got something going on.
And that like is something that started with your generation. And
yeah, Carol, street lights on.
like,
Yep.
yeah, like your all's parents are basically Gen Xers, probably maybe some
Mine?
too.
My dad's a baby boomer. He's old, okay? He in the
ordinarily though, like your generation,
He was in the 80s,
in the 70s. You know,
yeah, my mom, she's the generation after my dad, and she was born 69. My dad was born 63. They're both kind of older. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and your sister's older too, right?
My sister, she's 27. Not me having to think.
Yeah.
Oh, so she probably relate to us a little bit.
Your parents are older, but like in general, and that's something that I feel like started with your generation, is the idea that your kid has to be in like a million things.
Everything.
That was not a thing when we were growing. Like you did a sport or a club or two.
Yeah.
The idea of like keeping your child busy with things all the time, else they'll do something.
It's not happening.
That I feel like started in the 2000s with when your generation.
Yeah. And it's not even just the kids. It's not even just the kids, it's like the parents too. But like because of like the time, like our parents wouldn't like just let us like go ride a bike like down the street. Like like
yeah.
You can ride it, like, in front of the house, but like not down the street. Like that's
yeah.
When your parent is over here at the PTA meeting, who's gonna watch you? Then you got a sport, and then you got a club, and then you got another sport, and then you got Girl Scouts, and then you're like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, we did a lot of family time. Like I feel like a lot of family time doesn't happen now. Like we would always have movie night. Like every night we would have dinner together. Like that was so important. But like even like hanging out outside my house, like there was always a parent watching us somewhere, but like not on top of us, obviously. But it's just so different. Like we played sports, but it wasn't every day.
No, literally, what I played 9 sports, I think, in my life. 9. And I did Girl Scouts. My mom is the president of my PTA at my school when I was in elementary school. And then also, like, even now, like, my family has not eaten dinner together in, like, besides holidays in a long time because my mom works hella weird hours. She always has. So, like, that's the thing. And my dad literally eats, like, once a day because he's on medication. So, like, our cycles do not line up like that. They don't.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like as a kid we did like do like more stuff together, but like not like that to that extent. No.
I mean, by the time I was a teenager, you know, my mom was working full time and then in college my entire high school, and my parents got divorced. So it was just like one parent around. So by that point, but then, you know, we were pretty like independent, like driving ourselves places and just going out with friends. But like before that, before my parents got divorced when I was 14, it was a lot of family time, and we didn't have a ton of money, so like I wasn't in like I was in Girl Scouts and things like that. I wasn't athletic, so I didn't do sports, but like we weren't in a ton of things, and we did go do a ton of things unless they were like going to the park or going, you know, riding your bike somewhere, but we always did things as a family. That was like a big thing, and like eating dinner together and things like that. And like naturally as we got older, like we weren't expected to sit down and eat dinner with everybody when we were 16 because we were probably out with our friends. But like until then, until we got to be about 13, 14, like we did just do that. And I mean, and I live in a really rural area, so the idea of riding my bike to somebody's house, like, no, you're gonna get hit by a car on an old country road. I live in, you know, I mean, really, like, I live in a rural area. So that was, you know, but definitely like driving and picking up your friend and just like hanging at their house all weekend or something. Or,
the only person I do that with is with my sister.
School, and then you come home for dinner. Like,
no. Everybody's too busy for that. Also, Monica, that is nothing apparently because my boyfriend has soccer 6 days a week. So he either does practice 4 days a week and does games 2 days a week, or he does practice 5 days a week and does 1 game a week. 6 days out of the 7 days a week, he does soccer. Okay. So like,
damn.
Sports.
I had it like once a week.
After
I had
school
training
sports,
once a week and then game on the weekend.
Like after school sports too, like they do practice at least 4 to 5 times a week. Like baseball,
it's so competitive now. It's not about building the friendships anymore. It's more about competitiveness.
No, my boyfriend, he does not play at the school. He plays at the club. He's at the club, but like a professional like club. So that's probably why. So, but he did. Yeah, I don't know, but like, that's how people are. Like, even I didn't even do a sport, but like, he'd be like, okay, after school today, I have to stay. I have to help with newspaper, and then tomorrow I have to do something for National Honor Society, and then on Thursday I have a National Achiever Society meeting, and then on Friday I have to go home and crash because I've been overworked the whole week. So that's like how the weeks go, or they did when I was like.
I'm not saying that there was nothing going on when I was in school. Like there were definitely sports and clubs and things like that.
It's just so much more intense for no reason.
Yeah, y'all are so busy, and I work with high school students, so I'm seeing them, and I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna
too much.
Oh, I can't do that. I've got a game, or I've got practice, or I've got this, and I'm just like, you all are kept so busy that I'm like,
for no reason.
It makes me sad for your generation in the sense.
I'm sad too.
Busy, but I'm like, you're a kid. Like be a kid. Like
yeah.
You should
sleep in on the weekends if you want. Sleep till 3 o'clock in the afternoon if you want. You're a fucking kid.
And,
what the hell?
Well, I definitely see that with
balance.
At least like my neighbor, she's 13. Did she just turn 13? Oh my gosh, I'm a terrible person. But she does like rodeo, and then she also does like track.
So cool.
Like other things that she does, like school event type things. Like, she's so busy. She's way busier than I am, and I'm like, I can't keep up with like a YouTube channel and like a million things. Like she's always got something going on, and I totally know what you mean, Amy, because I do see that with this like generation of kids now, where they're like.
You have some kids when I was in high school who it's like they played a sport every season, and they were just like it was mainly athletic people or people who were like trying to get like lots of extracurricular for college or something. But like you had people like. I was in like drama club and newspaper or like yearbook, and I was in the band. So I mean, like I did stuff. Band takes up a lot of time, but all my friends were in band for one. So I was constantly like with my friends because we were all in band, and that was more like fall semester, and then you just did like concert stuff. So it was like you had a lot more free time that I feel like you were able to fill however you wanted, and there was less maybe pressure from parents to keep their kids busy like every minute of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel pretty big.
Again, I was not only bringing up my boyfriend again, but literally because he's like the most overworked.
Don't bring him up all you want.
No, he's the most overworked person that I know. When I tell you, he wakes up at 6 o'clock, drops his sister, his mom off before he goes to school at 8. He goes to school till like 2 o'clock. Then he has to pick up his sister from school. He has to go home, start his homework, cook dinner for his family. Then he goes to soccer practice, which takes 2 to 2.5 hours with commute. Then he has to take a shower. By that time, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. By the time
no wonder you haven't seen him in 2 weeks.
That's what I'm saying. And then he has to do choir because he goes to an academy which has like advanced academics. But even for me, I've been chilling at home with virtual academy. I started. I had like, what is it called? Like asynchronous yesterday, so I didn't have any classes. So I got up kind of late at 11. But I was doing schoolwork until. I shouldn't say schoolwork. Some of it was for BookTube too, but like, I was doing that until like 9 p.m. and then I edited a video from 9 to 11, and then I did a thumbnail, and yeah, I went to sleep at like 2 in the morning, and then I woke up at 7 for school.
Do not have that time of energy.
That's what I'm saying. Like 11 to 9 p.m. Okay. I like exercised and like took a shower and like ate food like in that time too. But like,
oh man,
I hope that in college you can like balance and like find your chill and then also be a part of whatever it is you want to be a part of. But also
the only reason I'm a part of things is because of college, like to get into it. So
Yeah.
like in college, all of this extracurricular stuff.
You're already in. You're in. You're good.
I'm sorry. We'll do like a couple things here and there because I don't think I could just like sit still like that. But like we're not doing like 6 things like I am right now. We're not. No. So again, with the book, I guess like bring it back to the book. Like I think it's just generational. We don't have time to be doing things like this. Like you don't just go like hang out with your friends. Like you got to plan it like at least like 3 days in advance. If you don't plan hanging out 3 days in advance, it's not happening.
Right.
I mean, I was friends with the people I was friends with, not because of proximity, but like the fact that you're in school with them and you see them most of the day, and then it's like, well, whose house are we going to after school today? Like, what are we doing after school today? And then you would just like go, like a lot of people would come to my house, my friends would come to my house, and we had like a pool table, and so we would just like watch TV or play pool. And my mom would be at work and then she'd go to school. I mean, we weren't doing anything we weren't supposed to do, but it was just like came to my house and hung out, or I'd go to my friend's house and it was just like, you know, if we didn't have like band practice or a meet or like, you know, a football game or something like that, it was just like, okay, where are we going to go and hang after school?
Did you not have homework or like what was
you
that?
usually do your homework together. You'd be like, if you had homework after school,
Yeah.
you'd be like, okay, we're just going to go over to so-and-so's house and we'll just like put the TV on and we'll all work on our homework.
Yeah, we watch Nickelodeon and we'll do our homework.
But did it like only take like an hour or something? Is that what you're saying? Like it didn't take that long?
No, it didn't take that long. I don't remember
it
it taking that long.
Last year, literally, I would not get home till like 5
like
p.m.
a paper due, but other
I didn't
than
learn algebra until high school. Like these kids are learning algebra in like kindergarten. Like I didn't learn algebra until high school. So like my homework was reading a book.
You're probably infinitely smarter than all of us.
Yeah, probably a lot smarter.
My homework,
I can guarantee you're smarter than I am.
Like homework, took like generally like especially last year. Like I feel like last year's like the only thing I can really like compare accurately because this year mess. Take me like 4 or 5 hours a night.
No.
Yeah, that's not right. Because that takes away so much from these kids and their lives. Like, I just think the school system is messed up.
This is what I'm saying.
Isn't that right? They have plenty of time for this.
All the older people we hate in the generation being like whatever saying, talking their ish about us. But you like can't even say anything because you know why? It's because school literally sucked the souls out of our bodies and threw them away.
It's creating anxiety, it's creating stress, and it's creating terrible habit patterns for you guys. It's terrible. They don't realize how much harm they're doing.
Because the thing,
you would have like big projects. Like for each class, you might have like 2 a semester, or you'd have some like, 20-page English paper that you were working on for like, half of the semester. So like, you'd have time.
And your science fair project of the planet.
Like we're dedicating more hours and hours, to something like when it started to be crunch time and you had something big due. But like, aside from like, having reading to do for English class, that took time. I remember, you might have some math stuff, but like, I remember most of it being, like studying for tests. And that was sort of like however much time you wanted to put into it, you put into it. So there wasn't a lot of like take home work. And I think it also depended on your teacher. Some of them would just be like, all right, the last 15 minutes of class, you can go ahead and start on your homework. Some people would get done, you wouldn't have as much to do. And then other teachers would load you up with homework. So I think it just depended. But I think as a generalization, you did a lot more in class, and then you might have like big projects or like big papers to write. So I mean, maybe like an hour a day, but that's like not every day.
Well, I mean, some days, to be fair, I didn't have homework, but then the majority of days I had like 4 hours. But that's like again, we had like 15 minutes of class, like do your thing, like do your work. We have like study hall, but then like that doesn't make a dent in it. Like if you have like 5 hours of homework and you get an extra hour, you still got 4 hours. Like that
Yeah, you're looking at 15 minutes and you're like, I'm gonna sit here on my phone because what's 15 minutes gonna do for me?
That's what I'm saying. Like 15 minutes. Lot. But then also like it makes me angry. Like this one teacher, when I tell you I love her, she made me love biology, which is like I did not think that I would love biology. And then this year I have her for forensics, and I love her, but like she gives us too many assignments. I'm actually screaming because every class, right? She's like, every class we do notes, and then she gives us like an assignment on the notes. And sometimes we finish it, sometimes we don't, and we have to finish it after class. And then we'll like start an assignment that's like big, right? That goes to like for like 2 days, right? So like on Wednesday she gave us was it Wednesday? Tuesday she gave us an assignment that's due Friday. But then yesterday we had an assignment that we had to complete. And we didn't have a calls, so we had to do that on our own time. And then today we had an assignment that I still need to finish. And then tomorrow, like, when am I supposed to do the other assignment that's due Friday? That's due tomorrow. Like, I have to do that too? Okay, that's fine. I guess I'll just be doing your work for forever.
I'm gonna be honest, Deja. That to me sounds more like college.
Yeah.
Raine and Crystal, if y'all went to college or what that experience was like.
Yeah.
That sounds to me more like a college workload of like.
Yes.
You know, like boom, boom, boom. Like I got a bunch of stuff. Like I mean, college clearly there was definitely more work
I guess
there.
Good because
You guys read the
You're gonna be pretty prepared.
But I feel like this is what everybody's trying to do. Is like everybody's trying to prepare you for the future, so then you start doing the load of that thing early. So like middle schoolers are doing like a high school load, high schoolers are doing like a college load, and I don't know what college students I guess just be doing college load, but like high schoolers can't be high schoolers because they're doing college everything, and then middle schoolers can't even be middle schoolers because they're doing like high school stuff. And like you always like everybody wants to be advanced, everybody wants their kid to be advanced. So like I obviously take like college classes. In middle school I took high school math. So like but like it's just like you want to be advanced, but like that doesn't mean you need that much work. I don't understand.
No, it doesn't. I agree.
Anyways, I'm off my tangent now. Like I just
had a comment from Monica put up.
Yeah, the Ghost Tree. I was wondering if you guys have heard of it.
I love that. I love that book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
One of my favorite books from last year. Yeah,
I've never read.
It's really good. Christina
so
Henry writes amazing horror books, and I feel like she's so underrated because she does a lot of retellings, but she does it from like a horror perspective. Definitely read any of her books. I just picked up Near the Bone, which just came out, but The Ghost Tree was so good. It was so like supernatural and freaky and 80s, and it was just great.
But what is what's the arcade?
They just mentioned like arcades, like the 80s
Like,
arcade.
I think you just meant
Oh, I wish we still had those because, like, obviously I've seen those in the movie, and I'm like, I want that. Where's my arcade? Best we got was Cookies.
I still have it because I'm right by the boardwalk, like the Jersey Shore. So the boardwalk is like, you know, amazing.
I miss the boardwalk because I lived in Jersey till I was like.
I was just there last week.
I lived in Jersey till I was like 10, and that's what I miss. Like that's why I don't like the beaches because I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Sit in the sand? Like
the arcades are fun.
Like you're just supposed to sit in the sand, and that's
what's. I went to Jersey Shore a couple of years ago, and I can't remember which. I think we were in Ocean City.
Okay.
And it was so much fun.
It is. It's fun.
We played like haunted mini golf. Like okay, so I live to Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Dollywood. Do y'all know where
Yeah, all places I want to visit.
Okay, I live about an hour from there. So that's like
awesome.
That's like Disney for people around. I mean, everybody's just like,
wow.
Dollywood for the weekend. We're gonna go on down and get a cabin in Gatlinburg. That's
what is actually in Dollywood?
Dollywood's a theme park.
So what's there, like rides and stuff? I've like literally vaguely just in conversation, but I've never.
So it's like a Great Adventure type thing.
I don't know what Great Adventure is.
Oh, see, so then it's like we have Great Adventure. So like Great Adventure is like roller coasters and it's like Universal and Disney. It's all the same shit. Yeah.
Like Six
Flags. Dollywood is like a big effing deal. It's
I didn't know it was roller coasters. I was like assuming it was kind of like an older people thing.
No, Dollywood.
It's Dolly Partonville. It's only about Dolly Parton.
I knew it was why They have roller coasters.
Dollywood. I've not been to Dollywood in years, and of course, I don't want to go right now because pandemic.
Yeah.
But Dollywood is great. Everybody around here goes to Dollywood. That's like the weekend. You know, people get season passes. It's like a big deal. So you go through and you have Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, which is where Dollywood is, and then you have Gatlinburg, which is more of like this quaint little place, and like people go up there and like ski stuff in the winter, and it's just like tourist central. There's just like all kinds of shopping and like kitschy things and arcade bars and just like restaurants, and they do like dinner theaters, like big ridiculous dinner theaters. And when I went to the Jersey Shore, I was like, this is like a smaller, just because of space. Like this is like Pigeon Forge, just like Gatlinburg at the beach, but with a beach.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you have ever been to Niagara Falls, but I went a couple years ago, and on the Canadian side, the American side is also very kitschy, but on the Canadian side, you have this just like big hill, and it comes down, and then there's like the falls, and everything there is just like that. It's like Pigeon Forge. It's like lit up. There's a giant Ferris wheel. Like it is so kitschy.
Yeah, I love that.
And I love it. Yeah. So when I went to
like if I was to write a novel, like it'll be taking place like either at the Jersey Shore or at like a fairs type thing like
Crystal,
that.
I guess I'll have to, if I want to write a book about it, I'll just have to come to the Jersey Shore and like do like a scouting.
Yeah.
How terrible was that? So we went to Jersey Shore, and I was like, if I didn't live so damn far away, I would be like beach. Like I would go back up week because I thought.
Well, I will tell you a fun fact. I went to high school with Mike. So the situation. Well, I went to high school with his sister. He graduated a year before me, but I was really good friends with his sister growing up. So that was interesting to see him on TV. I swore I didn't watch the Jersey Shore for years because he was on TV because I've known him since I was a kid.
Gosh.
That's so
and then I finally got into it. And I'm obsessed with it, obviously. But yeah, me and Melissa were really good friends. Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's wild.
We all knew he was gonna have his own TV show one day. He just had that like personality, you know.
Did you go to school with Vinny? Because Vinny was
no, but Vinny is not nice. I've met him numerous times. He's not a nice person. He's mean. Ronnie is really nice. Ronnie's cool.
But,
even though he beats his girlfriend.
He's just a drunk.
No.
But like all like that small town, like I think that's like I wish I grew up with that, but like I just didn't. Like I kind of did when I was like before I moved here, but like in North Carolina, like it's not a thing. Like I think that's why one of my favorite shows is Bob's Burgers, because it has like the kids like go on all these little like adventures. Like everybody knows each other at school. They get to mess. They have like the little arcade. They have like the little wharf. Like I love that, but like I didn't have that. But I think that's why I probably like that show, because it's like giving me the energy that I never got.
Also, because it's one of the greatest shows ever.
It is so good. I watch that show almost every day. I've been wanting to watch it for the past 3 days, and I haven't had time. I'm so
love that show. Monica, our next book club pick is House of Hollow.
I think she means like the next round.
But the next round, I'm assuming we'll probably announce them in May.
Yeah, because you know that
we have to go over them.
We'll probably announce July, August, and September.
Yeah.
So we'll have 3, and like we'll have the next 3 months. Because June we're doing a readathon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're hosting a readathon in June, and then we have like our May pick. But middle of May, I will announce July, August, September. So it's pretty soon, not too much longer. I think we've already like in our little like Google Doc and stuff. I think we already have like they're already essentially picked on there, so we just have to make them official. Make sure we all want to them and whatnot. So it was funny because Monica mentioned like the arcade was a place to go. Like she's a little bit older than me, but like so I'm a little after this, but we have like, and I don't know if they still have these, but they would have places where you could go and play online video games. like on computers. So they would have a bunch of computers set up, and then you could play, like Call of Duty on like the computer.
Oh my goodness.
Like, yeah, I think the big one was like the big one at the time. And that you could play. So all the guys would go and like to these places where they would pay to play video games, and like it would just be a bunch of computers, like desktop computers, and they would play like Counter-Strike or whatever, you know, whatever video game they were into. But that was a thing.
Now we had,
I mean, they still have like Dave and Buster's where you can go and play
sure,
like, type games for tickets and things like that. But I wonder if they still have places like that where you can go. Probably not. And like game, I don't know. I feel like maybe there are places where you could like rent like Xbox time or something, or like and play video games online. But I don't know if they're with computers anymore. But
I think it's pretty fitting, by the way, that my black cat has come to be in our live show about.
Oh, she wants you to hold her hand.
This is Hazel. This is Hazel.
So cute. So cute.
She's sweetie. She was like, I heard you were talking about witches. I wanted to be. I wanted to be part of it.
Carol, I would go to the elementary school across the street, and the guys would skate there. So that's where I would hang out.
Let's see. Oh, there is a skateboard place inside, though, near me.
There's a skate park in my city, like an outdoor. They built it a few years ago.
Yeah, we have one.
We have a roller rink.
10, 15 minutes up, like the mountain where the mountain town is, like there. But when I was like growing up, like when I was in middle school, I lived like literally right across the street from an elementary school. So like after hours, the guys would go and skate there, and I'd go hang out. I don't know. And do nothing, just stand there and watch, I guess.
Just watch. Yeah,
Yeah, we don't have a buddy read for the readathon, right? No?
No,
I don't think so, no.
We don't have a pick or like a group book or anything like that.
We're just doing
So just you can participate in the readathon or whatever. We'll probably still have a live show just to hang and chat and see how everybody's like week went.
yeah.
But we'll still probably do reading sprints before the readathon starts. But we won't have like a group book or a live discussion on that one. So
Yeah.
a little break.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I've already been thinking about my TBR and stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that started.
Some of us will do, I think I'm going to do a recommendation video maybe early June. So like if you're struggling with putting your TBR together and you need some like ideas, of course, these girls all read, well, maybe not Deja, but like definitely read more like horror and like extra spooky stuff. So they're
That's what I want to read, but I'm not there yet. I don't have enough to give
You're
recommendations.
getting there though. With the books that you've read already in this group, I feel like
Yes.
Yeah, I read more like
you toughed it
like
out.
weird than I do horror. But I love scary movies. Like I'll watch scary movies and TV stuff all day.
I really
Excited. So next month is House of Hollow.
Yes, I'm excited for House of Hollow. Even though I
Yeah,
don't
me too.
get amnesia trope,
I'm hearing so
amnesia.
many good things, and I'm scared that I'm like,
Me
don't
too.
overhype yourself, because everyone is
Yeah.
This, you know.
This
That's
has to be
what I'm
good.
worried. I'm
It has to be good.
There's no readathon theme. It's just prompts.
It's
like
just
strange.
readathon. It's just us having a readathon.
essentially the theme is it's kind of inspired by previous picks we've had in this
Yeah.
group. So a lot of that has to do with that. So we've read like Hollow Kingdom was like from the perspective of a crow. So one of the prompts is inhuman perspective. Like,
Yeah.
so it could be animal or any other type of creature or thing, you know. So it's really like we tried to keep it pretty general too. So that way if you read horror, if you read fantasy, if you read contemporary, if you read romance, you could probably find something that fits.
For real, you can. Trust me.
So there's really no theme to it. It's just if you've participated in the book club, then you'll kind of get a little more out of it, just because you'll like know, oh, okay, so this is kind of inspired off of this book. But really, it's just for anyone who wants to participate.
And I will be vlogging that week, so.
I want to, but like I don't know what possessed me to host a readathon this month and then agree to be in 2 readathons in June, the month that I graduate. And I'm also starting a job this month, so like I don't know what possessed me.
Deja's vlog's gonna be 3 minutes long, and it's just gonna be like,
hey guys,
hey, here's what I plan to read, and then a closing month later where she's like, I didn't read anything. Bye.
All right, guys, I gotta go.
Yeah,
it's fun.
We'll wrap up.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Right.
Bye. Thank you, Crystal.
Bye, Crystal. See you later.
Bye.
So now we wanted to know what we're all reading right now. So
I'm reading. Okay, hold on. Let me pull up my Goodreads because I'm currently reading a bajillion books.
Of course.
Oh.
There's me, but
I'm currently reading an arc of Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'm listening to the audiobook of Know My Name by Chanel Miller.
Ooh, okay.
I'm listening to 2 audiobooks because I haven't been able to sit down and read a book for some reason, but I'm listening to The Stand. My library hold came through, so I'm trying to get that finished for our live show on May 6th. That's going to be with Horror in 24 over on Crystal's channel. We're all reading The Stand. And I'm listening to He Started It, which I have like maybe an hour left.
I didn't need to do that.
I'm really enjoying that. Like I needed a fast-paced thriller.
Yeah.
I needed it like so bad. So I've been listening to that and it's been great. That's He Started It by Samantha Downing. One who wrote My Lovely Wife.
Yeah, I've heard that is very fast-paced.
Yeah, it is. And it's exactly what I needed because I was like trudging through The Stand. Like, come on.
Yeah, and you're reading We Ride Upon Space, which was also not exactly fast-paced. So.
Yes, I needed something fast-paced. So I threw that my hold on that came through. So I was like, oh, I'm going to listen to it right away. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. For me, I'm currently in the middle of 5 books, which is not me, but I'm really reading 2. Like, there's 2 that like I really want to get done by the end of the month. The first one is 172 Hours on the Moon, and the only reason I'm reading it is because of the buzzword-a-thon for this month is like a space book, and I really wanted to read Girl Made of Stars, a hard-hitting.
Like, yeah,
I wanted to read that, but there's literally like no audiobook, not even on Audible. So like, it says that it's coming soon to Scribd, which I don't know what that means, but apparently I don't know. So I'm listening to it 172 Hours on the Moon on audio, but the audiobook's like 9 hours, so I'm already like a good percent of the way in, honestly, which is good because the last day of the month is tomorrow, so I'm 30% in, and then I have about 100 pages left of The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is the 3rd book in the From Blood and Ash series. I'm trying to finish both of those by tomorrow, by the end of tomorrow. And then I'm also in the middle of the list.
So much.
The guest list, Court of Silver Flames, and Night Film too.
Oh yes.
Well, Night Film.
You can take your time. It's kind of.
Well, I put Night Film on hold because we pushed back the live show.
Yeah.
And then
are reading it as part of a read along, but it was never like officially.
So people were like, they didn't know this was happening.
It's not my fault. I'll take the blame on that.
No, Raine, it was not your fault.
But it's me, Savannah, Sarah, McKay, and Deja. We're all.
Oh, that's right.
But we're gonna we just announced officially announced it. So we're not gonna have our live show until like the 23rd. So
yeah, the 23rd.
If you want to read it with us, I'm rereading it because it's a book I really, really enjoy. So
I didn't know you were rereading it.
Carol's gonna. Yeah, I'm rereading it. I already read it. I loved it. So I was
I read it a couple years ago.
I'm in the middle of the guest list, and I'm not liking it, but I'm a completionist, so I want to finish it. But my audiobook got returned back to the library, and it's not going to come back out to me for 3 weeks, it says.
I have like the biggest urge to like reread one of my all-time favorite books right now.
Is The Guest List one of your all-time favorite books? Is that what you're saying?
Hell no.
I was like, man, that is a little questionable. I have really not enjoyed my time with that book, like at all.
No, I have like this. I think it's because I'm gonna get a tattoo inspired by this book, so I'm like, I want to reread it now.
What is it?
It's Perfume by Patrick Suskind.
I want to read that.
I've never heard that.
Set in 18th century Paris. It is about a guy who has this like he's born with this very intense sense of smell, and he uses that intense sense of smell to become a perfumist. But then he starts to murder women for their scent so that he can create the perfect scent. And it's amazing. It is so, so good. But yeah, so I've just been really, really getting.
I want to read that book.
I thought about getting any tattoos because I feel like I know tattoos are permanent, but I feel like everybody's like, oh my gosh, tattoos have to be like the most serious thing.
No, it really doesn't. None of mine mean anything. I
have one. But let's not. Okay, my tattoo is Harry Potter, but like I don't regret because I got it with my sister. So
I didn't know you had a tattoo.
Yeah, I got it when I was 16.
Look at you. Girl. I've never felt that they have to mean anything. I just thought it would be really cool to have a sleeve dedicated to all my favorite books. So that it's not, and other than that, like none of my other tattoos mean anything. Like,
I'm like, there's like some like really cool like skull tattoos, and I'm like, that just looks cool. Like, but like my mom, the reason that she let me get a tattoo when I was 16 was because she got a dumb tattoo when she was young. So I was like, you can't tell me I can't get a tattoo when you got this stupid tattoo. It wasn't when she was young, I guess younger, but it's so stupid. It's on her butt, first of all, and it's a heart with her initials and my dad's initials. Yeah. That is just no. And then the thing is, my dad's initials, his name's Ed. His name's Ed, right? Mm-hmm. And her last name starts with a D. So his initials spell Ed. So it just says Ed.
I love it.
And I'm like, you can't tell me I can't get a tattoo. You have that on you. You can't.
I love it. I didn't get a tattoo until I was 29. And on my arm.
Ooh, that's so pretty.
But I wasn't waiting for it. So I got this because my father died. This is for him. And it has a special meaning. But I mean, I would totally get tattoos that like don't have special. That's just like
I think that's just
I'll never get this back on.
What people say. I don't necessarily think that needs to
I got my tattoo when I was 29. I got my nose piercing when I was 29. Like
wow. But we went through the same thing, but at 2 different ages. I got my tattoo and my nose pierced, I think, within 6 months of each other when I was 16 and 17. And then you were 29.
I'm a late bloomer, Deja, and you're much cooler.
I'm sorry. But I went
and it's a lot more acceptable now.
Oh yeah.
Like it just is.
Yeah. I want so many tattoos though, but like I'm kind of poor. Like they're expensive.
Especially if you want it done right. That's for sure.
I know, but I want so many. I have so many ideas, and like I've really been itching to get one for like a solid year. Like I've been wanting another one because probably like a year. Like I've been wanting one so bad, which I don't know why, because when I got my tattoo, it was not fun. I don't know who says. I knew somebody who was like, yeah, like I like tattoos. They make me fall asleep. Excuse me, you are simply built different because that is not me. I was like, nobody look at me.
Everyone is different. Everyone.
No. But I feel like they say this is like a sensitive place, like near the ditch. So if I get it somewhere else, maybe.
I have mine. I think it is. I mean, it hurt a little bit, but it's not anything that I would be like, ow. No, I think
also, Raine,
probably hurt the worst.
You carried a child, and gave birth to it. I mean, I don't know if, like how you delivered, but like anyway, you still have to recover from that. Okay, so I feel like your pain tolerance and my pain tolerance are simply not at the same level.
Yeah, you birthed a child, so like
probably different. And
well, it might be where it was like not close, but I remember when she was doing the bottom part, I was like, that feels pretty garbage. And just
and mine's like right there.
Yeah, because she was getting close and it was like vibrating, and I thought that hurts more there than it did anywhere. I mean, it wasn't. I'm sure it would hurt in the ditch. Like I probably couldn't.
Mine's not in the ditch. I would never. But they literally told me. I went to
Raine's a badass. So
yeah.
I mean, like
I'm no a badass, but I appreciate the compliment.
When I was so far off topic of this book,
I know. But when I went to get my nose pierced, right, it was like a tattoo piercing place, and I showed them my tattoo, and they were like, "Yeah, like he tattooed the hell out of you." I was like, "Excuse me?" Like apparently he was like in like
heavy-handed,
too much. So I was like, no wonder why it hurt, because not only was it kind of like towards the ditch, apparently he was digging in. So I'm not gonna say I have a low pain tolerance. I'm gonna say it was him and not me.
I got my tattoo and I was like, I hyped myself up. So I was like, oh my God, it's going to be awful. I have because you just have no frame of reference for it. And I know I have a low pain tolerance. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to get one line done and I'm going to like chicken out or something. And I'm going to have one stupid line on my arm. And then, so like 6 months later, and I wanted a nose piercing since like college. And I just kept chickening out, mostly because I have a low pain tolerance. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get it done. No big deal. You know, 15 seconds, whatever. That son of a bitch hurt so much worse.
Really?
5 minutes of having a tattoo. I was like, oh
my God, no, my nose piercing.
Just the act of having it done. I mean, you know, obviously it's sore afterward, but like the actual piercing part. And I mean, yeah, I went to like a nice shop and it was 10 bucks. It was nothing. But I was like, Jesus Christ, that hurt. Like,
mine makes me more nervous because I feel like my anxiety is way worse when getting pierced than when getting a tattoo.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why that is, but like
probably because it's so instantaneous.
Yeah, it probably is. And I'm like, with a tattoo, it's like I'm in it for a while, so it's like
right. And you kind of your anxiety or your like. It sort of ebbs and flows a bit. Like once the tattoo starts, you're just kind of like, okay. And like you get kind of like peaks where you're like, okay, this hurts really bad, but like, you know, it is eventually over. I think I'm glad though, because I went in there thinking I could like handle anything because I had one little tattoo and then it hurt so bad. And I'm glad that I didn't know how bad it would hurt because I've never.
That's so mine. Like it pinched, but like that was it. I was like, oh, we're done. Okay, that's cool. Like it literally, but I honestly was more anxious for my nose piercing than my tattoo. Like I literally was in the shop, right? Still deciding what side I was gonna get it on. So shook. I was like, I don't know what side because apparently, well, one, I'm bad at making decisions, and two, it was not so last minute, but kinda. And my mom and I were there, and I was like, Mom, like I'm kind of scared, and she was like, stop being a baby. And then I called my dad and he also came to see me get my nose pierced for 2 seconds. I needed both my parents there to watch me get my nose pierced because I was.
Did you have like a gun or something?
No, a needle.
I was gonna say, because mine was like a needle and they pulled all the way through my nose.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I don't like the way that
it's awful, but I'm like, oh, I kind of want to do
okay.
that.
It wasn't even the pain that bothered me. It was more like the way that it like compresses your nose and then like crunches and goes through. I was like, disgusting. Disgusting.
And I'll tell you right now, if something ever happens to this, I would never get it done again because I already.
To be fair, Monica, I would be more nervous about getting moles removed than getting a tattoo. Yeah. I would be freaked out about that. That would freak me out. I don't know what that
I don't want any more piercings. I only ever wanted my nose, so I'm like, cool, I got it. That's all I need.
I like when people have a lot of like ear piercings, but like I never wear earrings, so I don't know. Like I would just it wouldn't make sense.
Mine would have to be just like I just have like I have the top and then this one. I would like a second one, but like they have to be just like the most basic things that I can leave in and forget about. Like if I can't just buy like really cool, like big long ear. No, I just can't because I'll
And
never
I feel like
wear them.
everybody makes tattoos
Like
out to be
these.
so much worse. Oh, those are cute.
Terrible.
I feel like people make tattoos out to be so much worse. Which I mean they are like more permanent, I guess, but like it's just your skin, you know, you get little like micro abrasions. When you get a piercing, that's a hole, like that's a literal hole. Like it's a hole in your body. Like I don't like to heal. Like how long it took for it to heal to change it to a ring pissed me off. I was mad.
Girl, they were like, wait 6 weeks. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give it like 8 just to be like on the safe side. In the time it took me to take it out, clean it for about 15 seconds, and try to put something in, that bitch had closed up. And I basically had to re-pierce the inside of it with my ring in the inside of my bathroom while having a full panic attack. My husband's like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, it's not okay. Leave that in for like 6 months.
No, I changed mine early. I think I changed mine. I know that I got mine after Christmas because I paid for my own piercing with my Christmas money my aunt gave me, and I changed it before February. Like I know I changed it in January, and it took me literally like half an hour to change it. Like literally took it takes forever for no reason.
It takes forever, and I mean, I had
nails
to push it back through. Like the inside on the nose, it was just like
And I feel like I had nails, so I was like,
I have not changed this in like 4 years. I'm like, no need. I'm gonna change it. It's fine.
Yeah, I have not changed. Well, I did change this one, I think, in the summer after I got it. Like summer 2020, I changed it to a better one, and then I haven't changed it since.
For sure. See that? Yeah, I'm not even gonna
grab out your ear
or dangly earrings or nothing like that because I know she's just grabbing stuff. No thanks. She already broke one of my necklaces that had her name on it. I was so sad.
Oh, I loved your robin necklace.
You know what you do?
She broke it. She pulled on it, which it was funny because my husband and I were talking about it. Like we were on our way back, I think from the river or something. And he was like, I'm surprised because he got it for me for Mother's Day last year. And he's like, I'm surprised she hasn't broke it because she's always like pulling on it. And I was like, I know, me too. And I'm like, it's pretty tough. Like I'm so glad because it's my favorite necklace that I own. And sure enough, the next day
not the next day. I hate that.
No, actually, it was that night. That night she broke it.
You know what you do?
And it was that night I was trying to get her to sleep, and she grabbed it, which she always grabs my necklaces, and just.
This is what you do, right?
I was always thought anything.
I don't know. I've seen necklaces on babies. Like I know I had one, but I feel like that's kind of suspicious. I don't know if people do that, but like if you can, you do, and you just like you don't pull it, but you just grab it, and like I feel like the baby's gonna be like, "Excuse me, like what are you doing to my necklace?" That's what I would do. I would just do it back, not like hurt them, but I'd be like,
just pull on
what about
it?
Like, that's what I do to my dog. Like when he does something I don't like, I'll go back to him and I'll be like, "And what about it? You did it to me,
right?"
And then he doesn't like that. So then I'm like, "Don't to me then."
Exactly.
I'm gonna be such a bad aunt because they do something.
If she doesn't pull it out of like anger or just like pulling
it, pulls it. Yeah.
She's just like playing with it. It's like a sensory thing.
Usually when I'm trying to put her to sleep and I'm like rocking her, and then she'll just start to play with it.
You should get one of those things. Don't they have ones that are like for babies that you put on and they can like teeth on it and stuff?
Yeah, I had one of those and she never teethed on it. She's just not a big like chewer.
But even I feel like if you just had one of those that you put on at like night that you can actually mess with, I feel like it might help. I don't know.
Oh, for sure. I usually just try to keep her from messing with it because I know that she's just messing with my necklace to keep herself awake.
Yeah. To prolong the going to bed process.
Yes. So usually I do the flip and then she can't play with it anymore. Because that's.
Can we wrap this up since we've had the last 40 minutes we've not spoken about the book?
I know we kind of didn't talk about everything, but I mean,
I don't know what else there would be to talk about.
I think we talked about everything
about the whole Philip situation, but It's fine.
I hated that reveal. I went back and listened to it and was like, that's insane, but okay.
So who was Philip? Because I don't know.
Her mother.
What?
Her mom was doing that stuff because she thought it was the only way she could communicate with her because her and her stepdad were so buddy-buddy.
No.
Yes. It was weird. It was weird.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I missed that when I listened to that scene. And then I asked you guys, and I was like, I'm going to go back and listen to that scene. I feel like it was revealed, and I just didn't catch it.
Oh, man. Okay, well, I'm glad I missed it then.
All right, I'm going to get off here, guys, and eat some dinner.
I'm going to...
Yes, Monica, next month we will, sometime in May, we will release July, August, September. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
The Night Film live show is
Sarah
Shelves is her channel name, and it's going to be the 23rd of May at what time? 3? Is that 3 p.m. EST?
Yeah, 3 p.m. It's
or 4.
I think it's 1. I thought it was 1 p.m. EST.
Oh, I think you're right. Anyways, I think it's 1 p.m. EST.
1 p.m. EST. I think that's like 10 a.m.
That's so early for you. I would never be up that early on a Sunday.
It's fine. I'm up at 7:30 every day.
Okay, you go, babe.
Yeah.
And our live show for House of Hollow is going to be May 27th at 6 p.m. EST, 3 p.m. PST. So go ahead and mark your calendars for that. You're going to read that with us. And we're also going to do some sprints before that. But we'll talk about it.
Yeah. And if you follow us on Instagram too, the details.
Yeah, you follow us on Instagram.
There, for sure.
Say that at the beginning and from now on, so that the people who definitely have not made it this far remember to go. We'll open our show with that next time.
Absolutely.
If you haven't already, go follow us on Instagram.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Follow Stacks
right,
and each of us. We're all linked down below. So
Yes.
I will try and link Sarah's channel. It doesn't let me change it until later.
You can change it till after.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.